The scores at the end of the first half were Cardiff Met 15, University of Nottingham 3. They've changed sides, but they won't have changed mentalities, Griff. It'll be just as physical as that first half, won't it?
Oh, we certainly hope so, especially from our standpoint here.
Fantastic chase down there by Roma Zheng on the far side of the pitch. A brilliant tackle there to stop the University of Nottingham from advancing any further up the pitch with their attack. Another superb tackle from another Met player. This time it's Joe Westwood hitting the Nottingham player with a thunderous thud. And he's had to stay down there for a little bit, Rob Carmichael, because he couldn't quite believe what he's just experienced. And Nottingham kicked the ball through, and it's left by Roderick Evans. I think Met will prefer to take, because Griff, as we saw in this first half, the Nottingham line-out structure hasn't exactly been the strongest, so they'll feel as though they can put the team in green under a little bit of pressure.
It's been quite shaky in the first half, to be honest, James. Met have been able to steal the ball once and put pressure on it multiple times, causing them to fumble it forward, to get a knock on, to get a scrum down. It's not a bad result for Met to receive this line out. Well, for Nottingham to get the line out, because they know they can put pressure on it.
Another great line-out piece there from Cardiff Met. It's the captain, Barney Langton, rising to the occasion, rising up into the air to collect the ball. And Met looked to go down the blind side there with Roma Zheng. But was there a deliberate knock-on there from the University of Nottingham to stop that attack from moving forwards? I'm not too sure, but the ref has called a knock-on, so it will be a scrum down to Cardiff Met. But he's just discussing whether they would prefer a scrum or a line-out. And we see that Cardiff Met with their dominant pack so far in this fixture, Griff.
They've been a lot more dynamic than the Nottingham pack. They've been looking to get into those pods quicker so they can get set and they can get forward and get front football.
As we start the second half here at King Koy Campus, as I say, it's Cardiff Met 15, Nottingham 3. And we've had a score update come in from just over the bridge. Bath University are currently 21-3 up against Durham University in their respective BUCS Super Rugby clash this evening. But just look at that Cardiff Met pack driving their way through the Nottingham 8. And they will win the penalty. It's such a statement way to begin the second half. I love using the word statement because every action on this pitch so far, Griff, has been a statement of intent from the Cardiff Met side that they are fighting for a win and they are hunting for a big win.
I said earlier that they were more dynamic. Now they're more physical as well. They've just bullied Nottingham in that scrum. That's a massive statement of intent from Cardiff Met. Now is a chance for them to attack with a strike play from the backs that have been looking dangerous in this first half. So let's see what they can do.
That front row for Cardiff Met have worked superbly so far in this fixture. Ben Murphy, Connor Chapman and Matty Scott all working together superbly to make sure that Met are physical and strong. And Joe Westwood's been just as physical and just as strong with his up-front carry there, straight off of the line out. It was a huge collision there in the midfield for the Cardiff Met outside centre. And Stacey looks for him again, and the ball is brought out the back to Roma Zheng, who was hunting for a little bit of space there, looking for the gaps in the Nottingham defence, but he wasn't able to find it. So the ball is now distributed back out into that open side channel through Stacey, but he'll switch the play up. He's favouring Westwood at the moment as the first receiver on the ball. And Langton now has it out the back to Roderick Evans. Ivanisevic again looking for another gap. He spun his way out of two tackles. The referee playing an advantage to Cardiff Met currently, so they have free ball. They could try something fancy if they want to, and Roderick Evans does just that. Chapman nearly went on the ball there from the little chip over the top. But he'll come back for the Cardiff Met penalty. Again, it looks as though there were no arms involved in the tackle. So he signalled for the penalty. Griff, do you take the 3 points, or will you kick into the corner with your superbly superior pack?
I believe he might be going for posts again here. Just get that scoreboard. Keep on ticking it over. There's 4 minutes gone in this second half. Get points on the board straight away, and then start looking for the penalties in.
but it's a clean take from Nottingham, who take that ball unopposed from the line out, and they'll peel from the subsequent maul, and it's that number 1, Archie van der Fleer, who peeled off and charged down the blind side of the pitch to try and set Nottingham up with the front foot in attack. And they've been able to work the ball wide, but slight fumble there from the fullback Tom Allen. But Nottingham have been able to make a little bit of ground and start marching themselves slightly closer to being out of their own half. But Cardiff Met are meeting them so well in defence, and that must be a turnover. So it was a legal turnover there from Cardiff Met at the ruck by Jake Bond. But the ref is coming back for a tackling offence. So it will be a penalty for Nottingham just outside their own 22. They'll want to clear this right down the pitch as far as they can, Griff. But Cardiff Met are still being just as ferocious in defence in the second half as they were in the first. But the ball has not found touch, and Jake Thomas now has an opportunity to distribute the ball out to Bowden, who's gone for the high kick over the top of the Nottingham defence. It is met well, though, by Tom Allen, who's come across the pitch to collect it. And a good carry forwards by Charlie Jackman to set up a base for Nottingham to attack from. Again, it's Van der Fleer with a carry in the midfield. It was a beautiful peel from Van der Fleer down the blind side in a previous line-out that we've just witnessed. Clever play from Nottingham there. It's leaving the ball on the floor, standing back up again and collecting it to try and get a little bit more metres. But it's Annan that says enough is enough, and he boots the ball down the pitch, but it's straight into the arms of Roma Zheng, who loves a broken field, who loves a bit of open play. And he is met in midfield. Met will have to clean this up quite quickly. There wasn't much support for him, but Roderick Evans is on that far side of the pitch. He's found Langton, who's found Ivanisevic, who's bitten back in field. He's rollicking away. He's brought down just 5 metres out from the Nottingham try line. Nottingham under severe pressure now after finding themselves around the halfway mark at the pitch. They were 5 metres out from their own line, but a knock-on at the base of the ruck by Cardiff Met means they hand possession back to the University of Nottingham. Griff, I got so excited there that I forgot my own words. What an amazing passage of play that we've just been able to witness.
Well, Nottingham are committing way too many players into the ruck here. And Met are utilising that. They're finding the spaces in the defensive line, and they're able to pick them off one by one. The likes of Roderick Evans spotting that space on the blind side and going for it, taking that space, gobbling it up, and then able to pass the ball on and for Ivanisevic going down the wing. It's just simple rugby done very, very well.
We've got a slight water break now, a pause in this fixture, Griff, so I'm going to give you a history lesson again because some people might have missed that from the first half. So the last time, Griff, that people would have seen Nottingham play Cardiff Met, David Cameron was Prime Minister, Jeremy Clarkson punched a Top Gear producer, we had the Volkswagen emissions scandal, and Chelsea and Saracens were sporting champions in England respectively. What year do you think that was, Griff?
Oh, well, a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. It's 2015, so 7 years.
2015.
7 years since these sides faced each other, and it was indeed at Kincoy campus. And Cardiff Met left that fixture 35-5 victors, with a try coming from James Beale, who now applies his trade at Cardiff RFC, as I'm so told by head coach Daniel Milton. But we see the introduction now, off the bench for Cardiff Met, of the replacement hooker Tyler Olding, the top try scorer in Cardiff Met's pre-season fixtures this year, which shows you just how threatening he can be with a peel from a maul or indeed a pick and go from the base of a ruck, Griff. And now we have what was the starting front row for the first 3 fixtures of BUCS Super Rugby for Cardiff Met on the pitch. And they have proven why they were the starting front row, because they've just demolished the Nottingham side wide open there right in front of the posts. But the referee's just calling a straight reset. And obviously Nottingham aren't happy with that. Griff, I didn't expect that to happen so quickly from Tyler Olding coming on the pitch.
Massive domination. We'll be seeing the front row now having a bit of intensity to the match, adding it to it. Challenging up to this Nottingham, very tired Nottingham front line here.
So Nottingham do have the put in at the scrum. So Cardiff Met have tried to split themselves as evenly as possible. So they've got 3 on the left-hand side of the pitch in defence, 2 on the right. Nottingham seem to have split themselves very evenly again across the pitch here, Griff. But, as always, Anand is moving around at the back, but a great drive from the Cardiff Met pack. But the ref is calling a penalty against Cardiff Met at scrum time for biting across in the scrum, not driving straight. So it means that Nottingham will be able to clear their lines from 5 metres out and get themselves further up that pitch. I'm not sure I agree with that decision, Griff. I thought Cardiff Met definitely had the upper hand in that scrum.
I'm not even a forward, and that looked like a Cardiff Met penalty to me. A clear domination in the scrum, and the longer this game goes on, you can only see it getting worse and worse from Nottingham.
I think Nottingham clearly are nervous for every subsequent scrum and line-out drive that they may face with this replacement front row that have come onto the pitch. Cowell is clearly fired up because it was his side that came across on that scrum. So Nottingham will have the line-out just inches outside their own 22. Langton is poised in the middle, though, to try and disrupt it as best as possible. But they've gone for that front man again. And it's their number 4, Rob Carmichael, who's come into the starting lineup for this week, who collects the ball. But it's been peeled around from the back of the wall. So now their own hooker, Lewis Pickford, found himself in a little bit of space to run into, but he was covered well by Olding. It's been worked back in the midfield by Nottingham to try and get on the front foot, to try and get an attack going in this second half. They haven't spent much time in the Cardiff Met half at all. The ball's come loose, but they're calling for a knock-on from Cardiff Met that meant it ended up in Nottingham hands. And Nottingham have knocked it on themselves in attack, so we'll now come back to the referee's initial call of knock-on from Cardiff Met. And we'll have another scrum, Griff. And as I said earlier, Nottingham are probably fearing these moments now with the front row that they've got to face in the form of Cowell, Olding and Salt.
Cardiff Met will be looking to put a stamp of authority on this scrum here. Not that they haven't been doing so during the match at all, but another stamp of authority then, because they've been absolutely dominating so far since this refresh of the front row. I'll be looking to utilise it even more. Might be looking for a turnover.
We've got a couple of changes coming onto the pitch now. David Tueti has made his way onto the pitch. It's his first appearance in BUCS Super Rugby since the Cardiff clash a couple of weeks back now. And Ali Stacey comes off the pitch to introduce Rory Morgan, who started last week's fixture against Bath. And he'll be a crucial finisher in this fixture. Bingo Ivanisevic has made his way off the pitch with a slight limp as well, so perhaps that's a forced change, not a tactical change there by Danny Milton and his coaching staff. But these are replacements, but by no means any less good or any less of an impact on this game than those who started this fixture, because David Tueti is a ferocious runner in that centre of the park, and Rory Morgan is always sniping, looking for the gaps around the edge of the rucks. So it's a good job to keep an eye on them lurking around the pitch, as we see another brilliant drive there from the Cardiff Met forwards, putting University of Nottingham under so much pressure. And straight away, Tueti making an impact with a great tackle in midfield to stop the Nottingham attack moving any further up this pitch. And they are trying to throw this ball across the park to find some space, but every Nottingham attacker has been met by a strong Cardiff Met defensive tackle. And again, it's the 7 of Ed Timpson trying to find a hole, moving sideways across this pitch, but he is met by that captain, Joe Cowell. Griff, it's just as ferocious as the second half. I did say it earlier, they may have changed ends, but we've definitely not changed mentalities in this game, have we?
Not at all, James. Both teams fronting up here, but Met have been having the best of it with their intensity and with their physicality so far. Dav Tueti looking for the line there, but unable to keep hold of it. So, and he has great hands as well. He'll be looking to get those offloads in.
He'll be looking to get straight back onto the ball. That knock-on won't have phased him at all, as Nottingham nearly fall to their own knock-on in the midfield. But it's the captain who's found a bit of space. It's James Cherry bursting down his left-hand side. He's brought it to his winger, who looked to find Cherry again back in the middle of the park. But a great interception, a great read of the play there from Jake Thomas, who's offloaded to Elliot Salt, who's now barging his way through the Nottingham defence. And just when I thought Nottingham were going to score a try of their own in this fixture, the ball has been kicked deep back down into their own half from inside the Met half, and this will be another 50-22 pulled off by this Cardiff Met team. So the Archers now have fired their way back into the Nottingham half, deep in the Nottingham half. It's another opportunity, Griff, to get on the scoreboard.
A lot of hands on heads and hands on knees here, James. Both teams are feeling that, and end-to-end stuff there. But excellent space recognition there from Jake Thomas, finding a very disorganised chase from Nottingham. After that break from the captain, and subsequently Jake Thomas intercepting that pass.
There's a great bit of play here on this near side to us in our gantry. Jamie Whitwell working well with the captain James Cherry of Nottingham to work their way into a try-scoring position. And just when we thought that Cherry was going to walk it in, potentially under the sticks, for a great Nottingham score, it was intercepted by Bowden, who was able to get that ball further up the pitch and work really well with the rest of his Cardiff Met side. And we are now having the introduction of another Cardiff Met change. It's number 19, Barnaby Waddle, who's making his way onto the pitch for another Met change.
He'll be looking to match the intensity that's been set out from the starters and keep that going and essentially give the backs excellent ball, because they are looking dangerous with ball in hand here, the backs.
Now Nottingham have found themselves in this position before. We saw Met in the first half dealing very well with the drive from just about 5 metres out. How can Nottingham put the pressure on Cardiff Met to make sure that they don't score in the corner here, Griff? What will they have to do?
Well, they'll be looking to stop this driving maul, if they're going for a driving maul, that is. But it seems so, because they have been getting the best of the Nottingham pack at the moment, with the physicality, with the organisation in the forwards, and with the structure. So
it was a very clean line-out take there by Cardiff Met, who have set up a strong driving maul. They're getting closer and closer to that try line. They are over, and Cardiff Met have another score in this game. That's their third try. They are closer to that crucial bonus point in this match. And it's Tyler Olding that came up with the ball. He'll be adding to his own try tally in this season so far. A great worked try from the Cardiff Met forwards. They set up a very strong maul. Scrum coach Alan Williams and forwards coach Ian Garner will be proud of that, won't they, Griff?
An excellent driving maul there. Great structure to it. A clean ball off the top. A very hard situation for Nottingham to defend there, especially against, let's be honest, a far superior pack at this point. They've been dominating throughout the game. I've been saying it over and over again. But Met have got an avenue here where they can exploit it, because they have Nottingham on the ropes in the forwards here. They're feeling the pressure.
We've got some score updates as Roderick Evans lines up this kick from across BUCS Super Rugby. Bath are beating Durham 28-8, so Durham have been able to respond with a try of their own. Loughborough now leads Beckett 14 points to 17, and Hartbury are currently trailing Swansea University 19 points to 24 down at Hartbury, again just across the bridge, as we see Bradley Roderick Evans nail a kick here for Cardiff Met to add the extra 2 points to take them even further ahead in this fixture. So the score at King Coyd campus is Cardiff Met 25, Nottingham 3. Griff, they're trailing by 22. They desperately need a try in this fixture, don't they?
Oh, certainly, James. I think Nottingham are feeling this. They've had 2 away games on the bounce here, and this is their third. And coming to King Coyd for their third away match in a row is not going to be an easy feat. They have been struggling. The Ultras have been loud, rowdy, getting behind the Met boys. And it's made the difference, because Met have been on top throughout this game. There were times when Nottingham were banging on the door, but Met have defended it excellently, let's be honest.
Cardiff Met's open side flanker Ewan Guy commanding the setup of this line-out defence that Nottingham have got to try and attack against. It looks as though Nottingham have dropped down to a 5-man. Cardiff Met, of course, no strangers to this as they tried to use in the first half. A great contest in the air. Cherry against Langton, but the ball falls on the side of Nottingham so they can set up an attack. And as I say, hopefully try and get into that Cardiff Met half, because Griff, they haven't spent much time there at all in this game.
Not at all. when they have been in the 22, they haven't been able to utilise the space, get gain line ball, and Cardiff Met have been, quite frankly, comfortable. As we saw last time, well, in the game last week against Bath, Cardiff Met were very comfortable in defence. They only had 42% possession, so happy without the ball, and we've seen them having advantage of that today.
And we see Oliver Gibbon there, introduced to the game for the first time. A great carry there from the number 23 for Cardiff Met coming onto the pitch. But the referee is pulling the game back for an offside penalty again against Cardiff Met. This is a familiar sounding phrase that I've been saying in this fixture. An offside penalty against Cardiff Met, so Nottingham now have a chance to kick themselves deep into Cardiff Met territory and set up a very threatening attack from a maul, potentially off a line-out. Or will they go out the back, Griff? Will they try and employ their backs? Their top try scorer, Conor Moyes, hasn't seen much ball time in this game, and is that probably the difference?
I think they must be looking for a different avenue of attack here, because the forwards have not been having any fun going against the Met back. So I think they must be having top ball off the top of the line now, having front foot ball from the backs, trying to pass the gain line, trying a new strike play, looking for those gaps, trying to manufacture a chance for Nottingham, really, against a very solid Met defence.
Well, they've come under increased pressure from Cardiff Met at the line-out, and again, it's Cardiff Met that come away with the ball, and Tyler Olding with a very strong carry, in the middle of the park, and a great tackle there from Nottingham to stop him advancing any further forward. But it was Jake Bond who then carried very strongly to move Met further up the pitch, and again, Met find themselves move even closer to that halfway line, even closer to getting themselves out of their own half, and Rory Morgan will use his right boot to get them all the way out and into the Nottingham half. Hopefully they can stay there for a period of time as well, I was about to say, but the ball is returned straight back to Jake Bond, and we know he loves to carry, and he's distributed that out to Roderick Evans, who's run a lovely arc here. He's trying to find himself a gap in the Nottingham defence. Nottingham just seemed to stand off him there for a second. They didn't want to tackle the Cardiff Met number 10, and that's Mr. Incredible himself, Joe Cowell, that finds himself on the ball. And Morgan with a lovely chip over the top of the Nottingham defence, but it's going to roll just short of the touchline. But it's had to be booted straight out by Jamie Annan to the Nottingham number 10. So it will come to a Cardiff Met line-out just outside the Nottingham 22, as we see the introduction of quite a few Nottingham players coming onto the pitch. So we will try our best to update you with that. Number 23, Will Gare, has just found himself coming onto the pitch. And he told us before the match that his fun fact that he'd like us to share with everyone is that he can perfectly shuffle a deck of cards. He's only done it once, but he's able to do it. So he worked a bit of magic on that occasion. So let's see if he can work a bit of magic on Kincoy campus this evening for Nottingham. As we Joe Cowell peel from the back of another great line out from Cardiff Met. And they look really threatening here in this position as they start pummeling their way further into the Nottingham 22. Great carries from the forwards here, constantly making meters, getting on the front foot.
It's a bit isolated here, James.
A little bit of a loose pass there. I'm not sure if that was the plan, but it found some hands. It's found Joe Westwood now in the back line with Roma Zheng, who's tried to get himself free. I'm not sure how the ball's made it to Gibbon, but it did. The referee's indicating that it was knocked on forwards into his hands. So it will now be a Nottingham scrum about 10 metres out from their own try line. Griff, that is such a wasted opportunity. That was a great position Cardiff Met found themselves in to get more points on the board.
It was a clean ball from the line out, with a bit of a set play move off the training ground, getting Joe Cowell running at those poor backs in defence.
It would certainly be the last thing I'd want to see is Joe Cowell running at me at full tilt from the back of a Cardiff Met line out, Griff. From this position here on the pitch, if you're a Nottingham player, how do you clear your lines? Are you going to try and kick it up that far side of the pitch to us where all the Ultra fans are, or would you risk it at this stage in the game? You are 22 points behind. Would you try and bring it back out in towards this open side and try and play some running rugby to get yourself further up the pitch?
I think from Nottingham's standpoint, they have got to get this ball out of the 22 and quickly. If they can get a clean ball from the ruck, or the scrum, sorry, they might be able to carry it up for one phase and then clear it out. get more bodies on their feet for the chase.
So Nottingham will pack down very close to their own try line against a team which we know are stronger than them in the scrum, Griff, and a team that have proven that they are, without a doubt, the strongest forward pack in this BUCS Super Rugby fixture. And it'll be interesting to see what the results are from this most recent drive, as the ball is rolled in by replacement scrum half Gregor Watson, and it's a great drive from the Cardiff Met pack, forcing Nottingham closer and closer to their own try line. There must be a penalty in here somewhere. It's a penalty advantage by the looks of things, because Cardiff Met are still playing with that ball and inching closer and closer to the try line. This would be the bonus point score in the fixture and surely wrap up 5 points for Met. It's the 4th try, and it's Elliot Salt that leaps into the air with both arms raised with joy. A fantastic scrum from Cardiff Met, sure to put a smile on the faces of any forwards watching this fixture, and great reactions from Salt and the rest of the Cardiff Met pack to pounce on the ball and score yet another try, Griff, but most importantly and crucially, a bonus point try.
What a scrum, James. An absolute domination right on their Nottingham's 5 metre line. That is nothing like we've seen in the game so far. We've seen a good scrum here and there from Met. They've been dominating, but that was complete annihilation. Nottingham didn't know what to do there, and then some clean ball off the base of the ruck there for the forwards to just pile over, and Elliot Salt getting the try.
And Roderick Evans adds the extra 2 points. Cherry and his band of merry men from Nottingham just weren't able to deal with Super Joe Cowell and his dominant Cardiff Met pack. And we see after that successful kick, Roderick Evans is making his way off the pitch now. That will be his final act of the game. He's had such an impact in this fixture, hasn't he, Griff?
He's had an excellent game with ball in hand from kicking. He's been excellent so far. He's been looking for spaces in attack, and he's been absolutely exploiting them and finding spaces and putting other people in spaces. He's been finding Joe Westwood and the like of Ivan Nizovic, the wingers, Romajang and Thomas. He's been dictating play. He's like a puppeteer here.
It's not the start from the kickoff that Cardiff Met will have wanted. A slight fumble there from Tyler Olding, but I don't think it will faze them too much, Griff, because we find ourselves with another scrum. And if I were a Cardiff Met player, I wouldn't mind that at all, because they seem to be, as we said time and time again, the dominant and much stronger side in the scrum. Do you think they can turn it over? They are very close to their own try line, so I'm sure they'll want to.
Cardiff Met will be going into this scrum with supreme confidence, especially off the back of that absolute annihilation in Nottingham's 22. So they'll be going with full confidence into this scrum. Let's see what they can do.
We've seen the reintroduction of Bingo Ivanisevic in this fixture. So Bradley Roderick Evans went off. A crunching tackle there from David Tueti in the midfield on Nottingham's Vaughan. That was a brilliant tackle, Griff. He saw him. He saw how threatening he looked on the ball, and he lined him up perfectly. Perfectly, Griff. You couldn't have asked for a better tackle from David Tueti.
David Tueti just saw his man and knew exactly what he was doing. He was going to bite out the line and taking man and ball, forcing the loose pass. Excellent defensive set from Met, and now they find themselves with this line out in the 22. They'll be looking to exit, maybe even keeping the ball on the field here, but we'll see what they do.
The Met team have certainly set up nice and wide on this pitch here at Kincoid campus, but an infringement at the line out, closing the gap when it came to the important moments, means that the referee has awarded a free kick to Nottingham. So Nottingham now have a chance to attack again in the Cardiff Met 22, where they've not spent much time in this fixture at all. Ollie Throneywork with the first carry of this Nottingham attack, where they'll want to try and get some points, because they've not scored since very early on in that first half, but they've visited the Cardiff Met 22 in a threatening manner a handful of times in this entire fixture, and they've only ever come away with 3 points, so they'll be desperate to try and get more out of this visit this time round. As we see the replacement scrum half of Gregor Watson make his way around the ruck and looked for a gap, but he wasn't able to find it. Again, another pick and go from the base of the ruck. Watson was sniping around, looking if anyone was running a good line. And again, they are well met this time. Jake Bond, part of the Cardiff Met defence, that's halted the Nottingham attack from moving any further towards that Cardiff Met try line. They may be ahead by nearly 30 points, Griff, but they won't want to concede a single extra point in this match, and they are looking very threatening around the base of this ruck. They are met hard, though, by the Cardiff Met defence. They weren't even given a moment to pick up the ball, it seems, there. Tuetti's caught a bit off guard there in open play with the ball looping out the back to the Nottingham back line. Morton again trying to get quick ball going for Nottingham. Tuetti again with another big tackle in defence. He's having a monster of a game since coming on for Cardiff Met. And it's Madden now with the ball in his hands in the Nottingham back line. Morton again picking the ball up because he wants to move this around quickly for Nottingham. That's when they can find the gaps. But it's not gone to hand. And the ball is shipped straight out of play into touch by the University of Nottingham.
Good pressure from Cardiff Met there. Nottingham did have the numbers on this open side. They had 2 men over, but Cardiff Met shut that down quite well there. Ended up being a little bit of a loose pass from Nottingham.
They're calling it a knock-on from Cardiff Met. They obviously don't think it was a deliberate knock-on in attack, otherwise it would have been a penalty and potentially much worse ramifications for Cardiff Met. But instead, it's just a University of Nottingham scrum about 10 metres out from the Cardiff Met try line. As we've said time and time again in this fixture, I don't think Cardiff Met will mind that one bit, because they have been by far the dominant side in this fixture when it comes to scrums and indeed line-out drives. We see Ivanisevic taking a little bit of extra time to get up off the floor in this fixture, though, so we've taken a little bit of a pause, much to the discomfort of the Nottingham pack, who look a little bit disgraced by this. They will just want to get on with the fixture, Griff.
Bit of surprise that, because they have been on their knees at points in this game, because Met have been spreading the ball from flank to flank. They've been using the backs, they've been using the pods to shift it out the back and trying to find those spaces.
We've got the sight of Ben Murphy there, who's on the bench, talking to team manager Amber Regados. Potentially looking at bringing him back into the fixture, but that's not necessary, as he sits back down and puts his jacket on, and we'll take a look at this Nottingham scrum. As I say, 10 metres out from the Cardiff Met try line, but it's Cardiff Met who have been the dominant force at scrum time by a long way. And that front row of Elliot Salt, Tyler Olding and Joe Cowell is a force to be reckoned with, not only in this fixture but across the entire BUCS Super Rugby League. Nottingham, of course, have been getting the ball out relatively quickly in the scrums. Been trying not to keep the ball in there so as not to give Cardiff Met an opportunity to attack, but they do, and they've stolen the ball back. It's at the base of the scrum with Morgan, but the referee has awarded, he put his arm up to award a penalty, but instead it's just an advantage, so Cardiff Met can try and play their way out of their 22. The ball now with Westwood at first receiver, who flings a miss pass out to Tuetti, who gets the ball nice and wide very quickly. A crucial tackle there from Nottingham on the far side of the pitch to stop the momentum of the Cardiff Met attack. But the referee is coming back for a penalty advantage for Cardiff Met. He's not forgotten about that penalty, but I reckon in the excitement, Griff, there, that Cardiff Met did, because all of a sudden they found themselves in quite a lot of space and with quite a threatening attack.
That's what a quick passage of play, quick passing with the hands can do, especially with the fast backs we've got. We've seen how they can utilise the space, how they can attack into it. With Joe Westwood kicking the ball out, he was lucky that they didn't regain the ball on that far side, because there was a ton of space on this near side by us here. If they could have just spread the ball from flank to flank, they would have been in massive space.
And we've seen the introduction now of the replacement props for Nottingham University. Fred Marr has come onto the pitch, and so has Dan Barwood. Barwood of the Welsh Exiles, and Marr has been spending a lot of time with Gloucester recently, signing a satellite contract with the side. So they'll definitely be two people to watch out on this pitch this evening, because they'll want to try and get Nottingham back onto the scoreboard and hopefully decrease the deficits to Cardiff Met in this fixture. But Met are marching their way up this pitch with that maul, but the ball is brought out into the backs, which I don't think they were expecting. Tuetti did well there to deal with a loose ball. And Morgan now chips over the top of the Nottingham defence, forcing the Nottingham backfield players to turn their backs. But the referee has called offside, this time on Nottingham, a penalty regularly conceded by Cardiff Met in this fixture. Griff, will Cardiff Met take the points again in this instance, or will they look to punish Nottingham further and kick to the corner and try and get a try in this fixture once again?
I don't think this is as clear cut as it has been, because Cardiff Met are on top here, especially in attack. They've been dominating with the pack, and they are going for touch with Joe Westwood kicking. I'm expecting big things here.
And Ben Murphy is on the far side of the pitch with team manager Amber Regados. I believe he's going to come back into the fray now. He's replacing Joe Cowell, who's going off, which is concerning for any Archer fan watching on to see club captain Joe Cowell walking off this pitch, because he's been fantastic in this fixture, Griff. And he's been very key to that dominance at scrum time for Cardiff Met as well. But Cardiff Met do have the put-in at the line-out, just 20 metres or so out from the Nottingham try line. They've run a great peeling move here. Olding finding himself on the ball. He's brought down quickly, though, by number 7, Ed Timpson of Nottingham, who's struggling there on the floor, desperately trying to get back into the Nottingham defensive effort. But Cardiff Met are driving further forward with Elliot Salt now, the most recent, to carry that ball forward. And again, it's that reintroduction of the loose head, Ben Murphy, who finds himself back on the ball again. And Ben Marr with a fantastic drive back. Fred Marr, sorry, with a fantastic drive back for Nottingham. Cardiff Met looking threatening. Guy over the top. Ewan Guy saw the space beyond the ruck in front of the sticks, and he picked that ball and he leaped over the top to give Cardiff Met their 5th try of this fixture. And Griff, with it being so close to the end of this second half, surely you would say that is the game wrapped up for Cardiff Met. It's 5 tries for them and only 1 penalty kick for Nottingham. You can say it's been quite the dominance here at King Coyd.
Exactly, James. In my opinion, it's been done and dusted since the second half started. Nottingham haven't been challenging that Met defence at all. Met have been looking very comfortable defending any sort of attack that Nottingham are trying against them, whether it be with the forwards or with the backs. It's been quite a comfortable victory this for Met. They might be a bit disappointed not to get more, because the opportunity has been there for them.
And Westwood slots the kick, easy as you like it, right in front of those posts to give Met the extra 2 points. We mentioned before the match how this was a must-win fixture. They sat 5 points off the top of the table in the form of Cardiff University, who they lost to at the Arms Park, but those 2-3 weeks back. And now they find themselves with 5 tries, a secured bonus point, easily a secured victory at this stage. So a crucial 5 points in the hunt for BUCS Super Rugby glory, as we see Tyler Olding again with another menacing run, thanks to a light tip-on from Elliot Salt, the softest hand you've ever seen on a prop, in order to be able to deal that ball to him ever so delicately. And now Jake Thomas finds himself trying to cut in from his wing to find a space in that Nottingham defensive effort. The referee did just check his watch there, so we are definitely nearing the end of this fixture.
An excellent pass there.
Roman Zheng found himself in a little bit of space, but the offload hasn't gone to hands. It's been scooped up off the floor by Nottingham. Is that replacement scrum half Gregor Watson, again making a big impact as Ammon kicks it across the pitch. It is taken cleanly by Will Gare, but he's dealt with so well by Jake Thomas under pressure. And the referee will blow full time here at King Coyd campus in this BUCS Super Rugby clash, the first BUCS Super Rugby clash between Cardiff Met and the University of Nottingham. It has finished with an annihilation by Cardiff Met against Nottingham. Full time here at Kincoid campus. Cardiff Met 39, University of Nottingham 3. Griff, could you have asked for a better performance from Cardiff Met?
An excellent performance here at home, with the Ultras backing them all the way with their noise, with their chanting. An excellent performance from the forwards and from the backs. The intensity has been excellent throughout the game. They've been dominating on the physical side, the mental side, the territorial side. It's been an overall dominance here, and it's reflected in the scoreline with 39-3 victory. A good performance for Met. They've been looking to take this into the next few weeks now, off the back of a dominating performance.
Griff, after a performance like that, how hard is it going to be to single out one person for player of the match, which I'm going to hand to you now, but to give you a little bit of time to think about that, I'm going to talk again about the dominance of that forward pack in this fixture. It was a great display by Cardiff Met from all 8 players who were in that pack throughout the fixture, including none other than Ben Murphy, who found himself reintroduced into the fray late on in that second half to replace Joe Cowell, who came off the pitch. He himself had a fantastic game, coming on with Tyler Olding and Elliot Salt to completely obliterate the University of Nottingham at scrum time. As a forward looking on, watching that display by the forwards, it was fantastic to sit back and see that pack do what they love best. So Griff, has that given you enough time to maybe pick a man of the match?
It is a tough one today with so many excellent performances. We've got Joe Westwood in the back. We've got Bradley Roderick in the back. Bingo Ivanisevic had a good match as well. But for me, it has to go to someone in the pack. I think Barney Langton, Captain Fantastic, was absolutely excellent tonight. Stealing balls, putting pressure in on that line out, and winning balls for Met. And he was just all over the park, making tackles, making carries. An excellent all-round performance from Barney Langton.
He was certainly a captain that led by example today, Griffin. You identified that well, but it was also a great performance from that backline today. As you said, Bradley Roderick Evans being as reliable as ever, distributing that ball out across the Cardiff Met side so perfectly in order to invite everyone to have an opportunity to get themselves on this scoreboard and make an impact in this fixture. Roma Zheng and Jake Thomas on the wings, coming under pressure time and time again, but dealing with it so well. And Joe Westwood keeping a cool, level head in the middle of the park. It was great to watch. Bowden again, and Gibbon when he came on as well, making sure they kept their heads cool and played heads-up rugby superbly to keep Cardiff Met ahead in this fixture. And you can see Danny Milton there. Whilst he might not have a beaming smile on his face right now, I'm sure there's a smile on the inside, and the party poppers will be going off in his head because he's got the result that he definitely would have wanted from his Cardiff Met side. And you can see the S&C coach, Di Watts, show his jubilation, and we watched them join the Ultras on the far side of the pitch, and I'm sure they'll be celebrating long into the night here in Cardiff after an emphatic victory against the University of Nottingham. That was a fantastic display from the Cardiff Met side. The big talking point clearly has been the performance of the Cardiff Met pack, Griff, and another big talking point is, despite 2 very convincing opening fixtures for Nottingham in their first season in BUCS Super Rugby, it's just been loss after loss after loss since then. They're going to have to get back to winning ways soon if they want to stay in this league, surely.
In all fairness, they have come up this year for the first time in BUCS Super Rugby, and they've been having a good time of it on the first 2 fixtures, but they've had 3 losses on the bounce now, coming from Cardiff, from Swansea, Loughborough, and Durham, and now Cardiff Met. Especially, it's a tough place to come here, Kincoid, with a 16th man, the Ultras, at the back there, just chanting loudly all night, giving support, giving a bit of stick to the Nottingham boys. It's things you love to see.
Amazing. And looking ahead into next week now for Cardiff Met, they're going to travel away, but it's a special trip away because they're going to Kingsholm, where Gloucester play their Premiership rugby for a double header. Both the men's and women's sides at the university here at Cardiff Metropolitan will be playing Hartpury University in a double header there. The women's game, of course, taking place in the BUCS Super Rugby equivalent for them in the Women's National League. They'll be hunting for more victories after 2 in a row for the Met team. And again, Hartpury, as the reigning champions, looking strong in that competition as well. But Cardiff Met will take a convincing victory from this week handily into next week's fixture against Hartpury. And Nottingham will be back at home next week against Exeter University. And that will surely be their opportunity to return to winning ways and get a foot back in this league. Thank you so much for joining us on this live stream this evening. Thank you for taking the time out of your evening to join us for rugby here at Kincoy campus. Thank you, Griff, for joining me here in the commentary box. Thank you to the entire team here at Cardiff Met Sport TV for putting this fixture together, for putting this live stream out for everyone to enjoy. It's been a great effort from everyone involved. So all that's left to say is, Diolch a hwyval.